The breakdown there is lovely between the hook and the verse. He sent me over melodies and I was like, holy shit, these are unbelievable. Big facts, bro. Slick is a real one, bro. The police are trying to get slick. Don't let them get slick. What's good, everybody? My name is Vivid Beats and I'm on The Process. I started like 4 years ago, yeah? And it's a bit of a sad story. But basically, like, my dad died of cancer, yeah? Like 4 years ago. And after he died, I've always played music the whole way up. Like, my mum's a piano teacher and I played guitar the whole way up. But I started rapping after. I was shit at rapping, like I wasn't good at it. But I was always interested in, like, you know, uploading it, mixing, mastering it, recording it, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of went from there. Got this laptop for Christmas, FL Studio, and just never stopped. I only use FL Studio. I use it to record as well, but I want to move into like Pro Tools to record. But I need to get a Mac and all that kind of stuff for that stuff. So that will be down the line a bit. But I mainly use, like, plugins wise, like Omnisphere, Nexus 3, or Contact. Contact has unbelievable sounds as well. I only found this out by collaborating with another producer actually from the UK, that he sent me over melodies and I was like, holy shit, these are unbelievable. I was like, what plugins are you using? He was like, bunch of Contact banks. That's where the sauce is at. Like, you hear all these other producers talk about like how you don't need music theory, but I think it definitely helps. You don't need it, but it definitely helps. Learning about thirds, fifths, all this kind of stuff, chord progressions, all that kind of stuff, like, it definitely helps. Especially when you're making specific kind of beats, because you listen to other reference beats and you hear the chord progressions, you hear the switches, all this kind of stuff, like, you know what I mean? So definitely does help. Hardest aspect of production would probably be like the background shit. All of that is so exhausting. As in, like, getting the videos, all that. Because I don't only make beats. Like, I tried to make beats, work with the artist, and give more of an actual producer impact rather than, you know, make the beat and go. I like to be involved in the whole process of, like, you know, talking to the artist about the videos, talking to the upload, the marketing scheme, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what I like to be doing, yeah. So I think the background shit is probably the toughest part, or the bullshit politics. You know what I mean? As in, like, there's a bunch of, like, everybody in the scene, like, talks to each other and everybody knows, like, everyone's business, yeah. And so you could be talking to this person, they might tell another person. You see how it works? Like, you know, it's very stressful. And sometimes you can't work with other people because you work with these people and out of respect you don't want to work with them. So it's kind of tough like that. In my personal opinion, okay, I don't think the Irish scene is gonna blow as everybody says, okay? Because and the reason why is simply down to the population in this country. You look at all the major hubs, like, for music. You have, like, the likes of, you know, America, like New York, California, UK, London, all these kind of places. Like, what's the one thing they all have in common? Huge populations, and they have big audiences. And with audiences comes money. And that's why, because labels have to invest in artists, yeah? So if there's no money, if the artist isn't gonna generate money, then they're you know what I mean, they're not gonna elevate. I think the only thing that is possible for Ireland is having artists blowing. It's not going to increase the overall, you know what I mean, like attention towards the scene, because, you know what I mean, like, if you listen to the likes of, like, Officer or Mr. Affiliate, for example, it doesn't mean you like, you know, other people in the country, for example. It only means you like certain artists. So it's not gonna blow, yeah, but there definitely will be certain artists that will. I feel like there's gonna be a lot more producers from home, all that kind of stuff, a lot more younger people coming up, because it's so accessible. I was only saying this to my mum there the other day, like, that everything can be done from your house nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, live TV, like Twitch, all that kind of stuff can be done from your home. Same making beats, like in the olden days you used to have to go to a studio and all that kind of stuff. Like, now you literally buy monitors, don't even need headphones, FL Studio, the laptop, you're gone. Like, I feel like it's gonna be simplified more, you know? Like, if you look at it, like, from the back in, like, the 60s, like Frank Sinatra, they had huge big, like, you know, proper big orchestras and stuff like that, for example, behind them, nice big pianos and all that kind of stuff, like, but it's simplified now into, you know, software. So I feel like it's gonna be just simplified. Even the likes of, like, the producers like Nick Nieri, yeah, you know, they're very basic beats, but they're very good. You know, they're very well made, but they're basic and simple. Mainly, like, top quality and top tier, like DJ Khaled, Metro Boomin, because DJ Khaled mainly just because, like, he's an executive producer, yeah, and that's the level, like, I want to get to. Like, when I'm 50, I don't be making beats. I want to be, like, you know, running the whole process. That's what I want to be doing. And then, like, Metro Boomin because of just his style. and the uniqueness he brought when he first came into the scene and all this kind of stuff, like, and he's also moving into the role of, like, you know, moving from a beat maker to producer to executive producer. Not that beat maker and producer, like, there's no difference between the two, you know, but an executive producer and a beat maker and a producer, there's a big difference, like, and that he's kind of moving into that kind of a role, like, you know, people are using him for his name rather than his style. Tons of different ways, like doing, you know, videos like this is one way. I also used to run a lot of ads on YouTube for my beats and stuff like that, but that is so tedious, yeah, because you have to then be good at actually marketing and all this kind of stuff. And Instagram ads, getting yourself in videos, for example, getting your name in videos, getting your name on tracks, all this kind of stuff. It's basically, like, it's a sad way to put it, but you have to get clout. But you have to be careful with how you get clout, because if you come off, you know, very, very bad, it's not good, you know. But if you come off very, very, like, gimme, get exposure, it's not good, like, you know what I mean? It takes time to promote yourself, like, and it's very, very difficult to do. But it gets easy, like, it's obviously, I couldn't imagine what I'd be like without the internet, do you know what I mean? And Instagram and Snapchat and all these kind of things. But yeah, constantly being active as well is such a, There's not one thing I'd choose. Like, if you were to give me the money, I'd split it down into a bunch of different ways. Like, I don't know how Jesus. At the minute, like, probably like either I'd probably get a Mac, yeah? And if I was to get a Mac, the only reason I get a Mac is to get Pro Tools, because I want to get Pro Tools so bad for recording and stuff like that. But otherwise, I get a bunch of contact banks, invest hugely, maybe Ozone 9, like the mastering tool, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus, I don't know, like, there's hundreds, I have a list, like, but there's hundreds of stuff on it, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, slowed me down a good bit now, I have to say, yeah. I know a lot of people say it hasn't, but for me, it definitely has. Like, I used to run a studio in my house and all this kind of stuff. And like the pandemic, like, I couldn't take the risk, you know, vulnerable family members, all that kind of stuff. I just shut it, yeah. And definitely, like, I used to be able to get a track out that I would have worked on, whether it's making the beat, mix and mastering or something like that, like once a week, once every 2 weeks there was a good period of time, like. And then when the pandemic closed, or when the pandemic came, it slowed down a good bit, you know what I mean? Like, getting to studio with artists is difficult, because I don't want to get COVID, like, you know what I mean? So it's difficult, because, you know, like, you go to the studio, you run the risk going through town, all that kind of stuff, like. So even the likes of, like, for example, we also run into problems like getting props for videos, you know what I mean? You have to order it on Amazon now, and it takes a few days when you can just go to the shop and get it. Travel for videos is such a pain in the ass, like, getting groups of people for videos, all, like, it really has an impact. But as a producer, I want to be in the studio with artists. Like, I literally need people to work, you know what I mean? Like, for me, like, as in with me, like, I need to, for myself, I need to have people to work with, like, there in person. So it's just difficult, you know, difficult. The fact that I'm able to mix and master and make beats means I can bring artists to the studio and make beats and then mix and master it. So I'm just like a good package, like, you know what I mean? And then when I had a studio, I could record from my house, mix and master, and make beats all from the one spot. So it was unbelievable. Like, you need to look at what's a niche in the country. Like, at the time, I didn't see many producers that were able to make beats, mix and master, and record, because they're all skills in themselves. And as you work up the ranks, they all get paid separately. Like, I didn't see many, so I learned to mix and master, and I learned to record, and I learned to, you know what I mean, produce. I learned about the marketing, all that kind of stuff is so crucial, and it's such an undervalued thing at the minute. Paid promotion, so undervalued at the minute. Slick Bullet was just a case of, during COVID, like, I know he has a studio himself, which is very good. And if any rappers watching, I'd recommend going to Slick Bullet studio. The way we did our track was, Slick already had the vocals recorded to another song, but he didn't like it, yeah? So he was like, and this is a common thing now that I see a good bit, like, you see the likes of, one thing, it was the first time I did it, okay? But I see the likes of, like, Nick Miera doing it on his live stream with Lil Tecca and stuff like that. They send them pre-recorded vocals. And mixed vocals, and then they make the beat to that. So that's the way we did it in this one, because it just kind of speeds up the time, you know what I mean? And especially during COVID, it's a bit difficult, like, so. I started off with the key, I think the key that he recorded in was A minor, And Slick is like has deeper kind of a voice, so his kind of range is kind of like deeper, yeah, and like lower in the keys and stuff like that. And so we started off with that, and then I was kind of working on a lot of like Spanish guitar melodies at the time. So I just did the Spanish guitar melody with like kind of I kind of complemented his spaced out kind of stuff like that with faster kind of melody and faster kind of drums and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it was a very good track, you know. So Slick sent me over his pre-recorded vocals. This was the first time I actually ever made a beat to vocals itself. So this was his raw vocals. They're in the key of A minor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They call me the connect, I got the cocoa. Day and night I'm trapping on the low.
So he sent me that, and then straight away I heard kind of like a Spanish guitar. I was also working on a lot of Spanish guitar melodies at the time. So it fit perfectly, like, especially in the key of A minor. Like that's like the typical, you know, like Spanish, like A minor, E minor, F. They're all like, you know, typical Spanish chords and stuff like that. They sound very kind of flamenco-y and stuff like that, yeah. So I started off with the melody. And then one thing I did here was to really give it that kind of like a real feel, was I offsetted the notes every now and then, like randomly throughout it. I'd offset the notes, just either push them back a tiny bit or forward a tiny bit, gives it a lovely real feel. And then I also messed around with the velocity, which also gives it a very, very real feel. And then the next thing I did was I added this flute from Omnisphere. And I love the airiness in that. Yeah, it gives it like a lovely kind of like a texture to the beat. It's nice. And then the last thing was this pad from Omnisphere as well. And that was it for the melody, yeah. So with the vocals and with the melody.
They call me the connect, I got the cocoa. Day and night I'm trapping on the low. Hella triple beams on the stove now. The police wanna get me, that's a no-no. They say my shit is the best. Hit him right in the chest, with all due disrespect. I'm trying to get me some bread, Hella triple beams on the stove now. The police wanna get me, that's a no-no.
Yeah, so that's sick, like. Slick is real good with vocals. Like he changes up the melody just enough that it's perfect for the it's like the melody and the flow. He changes it up just enough so it's perfect for the beat. So the next thing then I did was the drums, and then we start off with the, if I can see, the hi-hats. It's literally a simple two-step pattern, yeah. And all that does is it just gives it that little bit of energy that it needs. It's not too much. It's not taken away from anything. It's perfect. And then we go with the claps. That's it. Just throughout the whole thing. Especially when you're working with artists that use autotune and sing, you don't want to take away from their you know what I mean? You have to leave room on the beat for them, okay? So that's why it's simple, like you do, because if you start adding too many elements, then it just sounds too much and it doesn't sound good. That's one thing I used to do all the time. Add way too much shit, trying to show off, like that's basically all it was, like. And then we have a rim. And this just gives it a little bit of bounce. Lovely. And then we add a little bit of a crash with a flanger on it, yeah? Just that, just so you know when the next 4 bars is, you know, it's nice. And then lastly, and the most important bit, we have the 808, yeah? And the kicks. So together they sound like this. Now I'm pretty sure it was a nice and jumpy 808 pattern. I got a lot of inspiration from this one, from the XO Tour Life one, because that's kind of what Slick reminds me of, like in the way he kind of sings, is kind of like Lil Uzi, yeah? And the XO Tour Life beat breakdown on Genius is the 808s in it are very, very good. By TM88. Shout out him if he ever sees this. Hit me up. That's where a lot of the energy in the whole track actually comes from, is the 808 pattern, because it gives it that like and then when you put all the drums together, oh, and we have the kicks as well. I'll show you the kick pattern. That's with the 808s. Like one thing when I'm making the kicks as well is you want to have it in there's certain points in the beat that you want to have the kicks, because it makes it easier for the artist to catch. So all together then the drums sound like this. It's bouncy, like it's good. Perfect. It's literally all you need. Anything else would wreck it, in my opinion. So then the beat altogether sounds like this, yeah? Oh wait, sorry, we also threw in these 2 risers. I like to do this kind of like a little kind of thing I do, yeah, where I put the typical young chop riser over this regular riser. It gives it this common sense, real nice. It's nice, especially with the trap, you want to have that young chop riser and it sounds real good. So then the beat sounds like this.
Yo, Vivid Beats, my knees go weak.
Listening to this, come on. And that's for that bit there is the hook, yeah. So that's where the hook goes. And then we have Slick did like a 32 bar verse, I think it is, or not 32, like a 38 bar verse or 40 bar verse or something like that. And then he did the hook at the end. So I broke down the beat, and it slowly builds back up and then drops off again just before the last hook comes in, which gives the hook more emphasis. Like, so I'll show you what I mean here. So this is just.
Middle finger to the law. Bring my niggas on the wing, free the gang, that's for sure. Yeah, they're trying to keep us locked till they open up that door. I ain't backing down until an angel knocking on my door, yeah.
And then it breaks down.
Middle finger to the law. Bring my niggas on the wing, free the gang, that's for sure. Yeah, they're trying to keep us locked until they open up that door. I ain't backing down until an angel knocking on my door, yeah. They call me the connect, I got the.
Really gives that good bit of energy in the end of the hook. Now, personally, from my personal producer point of view, I would have made it like 16 bars as the hook, which is what he has, and then I would have done like a 16 bar, 24 bar verse max, just because like with the way the listeners like listen to nowadays is that everything is just much shorter, and they only really want the hook. So personally, that's what I would have done, like, but the way Slick did it was just perfect. Like, it was real good as well.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Extracted bars. Yeah. They call me the connect, I got the cocoa. Day and night I'm
The name I named this beat originally as well was called Trap. So that's perfect, like, he called me the connect, I got the go.
trapping on the low. Hella triple beams on the stove now. The police trying to get me, that's a no-no. They say my
Big facts, bro. Slick is a real one, bro. The police are trying to get slick. Don't let them get slick.
shit is the best. Hit him right in the chest, with all due disrespect. I'm trying to get me some bread, hella triple beams on the
Man, that's what we're all just trying to do in this world, is just get bread. Get bread and live. That's all we're trying to do. You say it's slick, man. That's it. That's it.
The police trying to get me, that's a no-no, yeah. Anytime they see me is a reload. They love it when I hit them with a
Like the breakdown there is lovely between the hook and the verse. The way he does a nice long spaced verse, yeah. The whoa. It's nice and spaced, and then he goes, bully daddy on the Rio. It's much faster. It's a faster flow. Like, I think I fuck with it, man.
Go.
Like, it's smart.
I cook 1,000 grams, that's a kilo. I wrap it, then I hit it with a free throw. Somebody knocking at the door, footsteps on the floor.
Building up again, it's building up like.
The people, I gotta run from the law. When I ran straight to the bathroom and I flush it down in the drain. The feds bust through the yard, they hit my nigga with a cane. It's a movie, it's a mad thing.
That's banging, like, that's banging, like, he set the scene there. That's good, like, you know what I mean? I fuck with that, I fuck with that.
It's a sad thing, it's a very, very, very bad thing. Got ability on life acting, no relaxing, no slacking, laxing, no slacking. And the waste man wanna talk shit, wanna fuck around and get a bad thing, oh lord. Middle finger
Then the breakdown, like, you see this, like, Slick is smart with this shit, man. Yeah, he's smart with it. Like, he has a good spaced hook, then it breaks down, fast, builds up with the beat, bang, breaks down again. Yeah. That's what the listeners want, like, it plays with their ears, like, you know what I mean? It's a subconscious thing, like, it's very good.
The law, free my niggas on the wing, free the gang, that's for sure. Yeah, they're trying to keep us locked until they open up that door. I ain't backing down until an angel knocking on my door, yeah. Middle finger to the law.
Nice breakdown before the hook, come back.
Free the gang, that's for sure. Yeah, they're trying to keep us locked until they open up that door.
Imagine the mosh pits, all the mosh pits are coming in now, yeah. Boom.
Call me the connect.
That's banging, like, that's a banging verse, man. I think the way he spat that there, yeah, pure raw, tons of energy. I fuck with it heavy. I really fuck with it. Like, I think Slick killed it. Like, I honestly do think Slick killed this. Yeah, it's real good.
I got the cocoa. Day and night I'm trapping on the low. Hella triple beams on the stove now. The police trying to get me, that's a no-no. They say my shit is the best. Hit him right in the chest, with all due disrespect. I'm trying to get me some bread. Hella triple beams on the stove now. The police trying to get me, that's a no-no, yeah.
Like, that's banging, like, and that's tough to do. That's tough, like, that's a long song, you know what I mean? That's a decent song. Like, how long is that? Like, that's like 2-minute freestyle, yeah? That's tough. Like, when I record rappers, like, you know what I mean, you'd be doing 8 bars, 4 bars for a good 5 minutes, like, and the fact that Slick did all this in a one take, with the auto-tune singing, with the rap, with this tempo, is tough. Because I know Slick hits me up, man. Slick asks for beats that are like Gunna type beats that are slower, like 120, that max 125, like, that's what he asked. This beat is 162. So that's tough, you know what I mean? That's tough, like, for fuck's Steve Slick. I fuck with it heavy.
Yeah.
You killed it, bro, you killed it.
And this has been Xtracted Bars. Yeah.
Excellent. Unreal video as well, well done.